What is emo? Is it a style of music? Is it fashion? Which bands are emo? To me, emo has always been about its vulnerability and being upfront with its emotion. Obviously, other genres of music are emotional, but no other genre of music is so closely associated with having emotional songs and having darker lyrics. Hey everyone, it's Michael. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to talk about an underrated emo band and album, an album that was so dark and intense that the band included a warning with the album. The album I'm going to talk about today is a breakup album, and I'm saying that right now because it always seems like emo and pop punk get either laughed at or looked down on because a lot of the songs are breakup songs or love songs. So, if you want to get deep, if we look at the course of human history at poems, books, songs, plays, movies, what topic do you think that humans have written about the most? The answer is love. I mean, how many songs do you think are about love? 60%? 75%? 99%? I mean, we all agree it's over 50%, right? The idea that emo and pop punk bands are the only genres of music that mostly talk about love is kind of ridiculous. Before I talk about the band, album, and lyrics, I do want to make it completely clear that I'm not saying all this as some joke. I am going to be talking about some very serious lyrics and themes that have to do with mental health. The album I'm going to be talking about is It Won't Snow Where You're Going by the band Park from 2003. First, let's talk about the history of Park. Park formed in 1996 in Springfield, Illinois. The band had a lot of different members throughout the years, but lead singer Ladd Mitchell has been the one constant. The band released their first EP, Blue Screen, in 1996. As far as I can tell, the EP only exists digitally thanks to a YouTube video by the perfectly titled YouTube channel B-Side Archive, Obscure Music, and Lost Media. Since this was 1996, you can hear the Midwest emo influence all over this EP. Of course, being so close to the legendary Chicago emo scene, that's not really a shock. The band released their debut album, Scene 14, in 1999, and this one isn't anywhere online, at least not that I can find, so unless the band or someone who has the MP3s uploads the files online, this album might be gone forever. The band eventually signed to Lobster Records, what a name, and released 3 albums, No Signal in 2001, It Won't Snow Where You're Going in 2003, and Building a Better in 2006. These are all streaming, at least of this recording, so you can listen to them very easily, obviously. It is interesting to point out, I'm not sure if Park is the first band to have an album title blank or open-ended, like on Building a Better. If you listen to the album, the lyrics fill in the gap, so it's Building a Better You. I don't know, just something I found interesting. The band's overall discography is solid, but everyone who is aware of Park will tell you It Won't Snow Where You're Going is the band's most popular album, and the one that people still talk about today. Earlier I talked about this album having a warning, and this is what was included in the liner notes of the album. Quickly, because I think some people might have no idea what liner notes are, so liner notes are just notes written inside the album, so inside like a CD booklet or vinyl. Could be the band thanking a bunch of people, or the band just, writing a personal note to fans who bought the physical version of their music. I guess technically it could also be that little spot where artists can send a message on Spotify. Yeah, now that I think about it, that counts. I had this album on vinyl and cassette because I'm a nerd and can confirm the messages in both, so obviously I assume it's in the CD version as well. Here's a look inside the vinyl, and as you can see, it has a blood-stained design. The message is, this album is purely an artistic interpretation of personal experiences. Although there are some references in certain songs suggesting by no means are they saying that suicide should be an option during a sad or upsetting time in life. If you or someone you know is ever in a situation where you feel suicidal, there is always someone to talk to, friends, family, or counselors. The message also includes links to suicide prevention resources. It's probably obvious by that message that the band is fully aware of the subject matter in their songs. They've also posted about mental health phone numbers and services on their socials. So again, the band isn't shying away from the lyrics, and at least they are sharing those important resources, because obviously mental health is not a joke and something to be taken very seriously. Before we go any further, I should talk about the sound of Park. Trust me, I'd love to play you some songs, but they will get copyrighted. As far as bands similar to Park, I'd say Armor for Sleep, Thrice, Thursday, Name Taken, maybe Saosin, but without the screaming. You might think, based on the warning, that It Won't Snow Where You're Going is some high-energy screamo album, but it's not. So now that we know the backstory, let's talk about the lyrics on It Won't Snow Where You're Going. I will put another buffer here since I am going to talk about the lyrics next. This is a reminder the lyrics are very dark and intense. The album starts with gasoline kisses for everyone, and the first lyrics are, I think I'd be lying if I said I don't enjoy this, waking up soaked in sweat, wondering who you're laying with. So we immediately know this is a breakup album. From what I can gather based on all the lyrics, Ladd was cheated on, but I couldn't find anything to confirm that. I also couldn't confirm what age the band was when they wrote this album. We do know that most of the lyrics came from the singer Ladd Mitchell, and I'm pretty sure he was in his late teens, early 20s, so you have to look at the lyrics through that lens. When you get your heart broken at a young age, you think your entire world is over, and that feeling of loss, anger, and uncertainty is all over this album. The album, more than anything, is more or less a very dark diary entry of a young kid who's heartbroken. Conversations with Emily is a slow, almost spoken word song that might even remind you of something from La Dispute. The song has the lead singer having a conversation with his friend Emily about his recent struggles, and then she is giving him advice. Some of the lyrics are, "My Emily says, oh lad, what has she done to my darling innocent boy, my favorite late night someone? I wish you were here to kiss me," and scream, "Damn it lad, I need you back." Emily rolls over in bed and says, "Is it really so bad? Fed up and sick, tired of this, such simple things I miss. Oh sweetheart, don't say such things, we don't know who's listening. The only thing that can fill this gap is the one who doesn't want me back. So here's my advice to you, this should have turned out different, but it didn't, so get over it. But don't you find it reassuring that one consolation growing, my darling boy, it won't snow where she is going." Ladd even thanks Emily in the liner notes of the album for taking his late night phone calls. The next song is titled Which Wrist First, which is one of the more straightforward song titles on the album. It has the lyrics, "Tonight I'm spent pretending this razor is your lips. You're finding ways to kiss me deeply on the wrists." It's lyrics like this that really demonstrate why the band decided to include a warning with the album. "From numerous murders, I'll cut my throat to make this right and bleed all the words I've left inside." That line always reminded me of my one last gasping breath. I'd apologize for bleeding on your shirt from Taking Back Sunday. From Dear Sweet Impaler, which is one of the few songs that actually does get a little screamo, so why not end it all in one shot, this rope tied in a perfect knot. Another song with a blunt title is This Would Be Easier If You Would Just Die. Can someone say you're safe, it's going to be okay? Desire means we don't need anything, just a fractured hint that we knew we were something. The album ends with Codex of Vellum with the lyrics, "Let's give up, let's give in, desperate, pathetic, the same place I've been. I had it, a feeling of failure sucked dry, lost like a camera's wide open eye. We've lost it, a feeling for staying alive, free from infection, free from this life." The album ends with probably its most intense, fully screamo moment, and ends abruptly. Like I said, It Won't Snow Where You're Going is dark, and lyrically it's a lot closer to screamo or scrams bands like Page 99, The Saddest Landscape, or even Moss Icon. But since Ladd, the lead singer, never really screams, and he keeps his voice, I don't even know how to describe it, level and normal for the most part, it makes the album kind of stand out even more. And I've always thought about the first lyrics on the album. I think I'd be lying if I said I don't enjoy this. I always wondered if the band, not that they were joking, but that they also weren't oblivious to what kind of music they were making and the lyrics that they were singing. I see people talk about I Hate Myself the same way, where the lyrics are so intense and weird, but the songs, for the most part, are kept serious, but the band also isn't oblivious either. They're kind of playing along in a sense, not to dilute the subject matter of what they're singing, but they're aware of it, if that makes any sense. It's the same on Conversations with Emily, where Emily says this should have turned out different, but it didn't, so get over it. There's just a few lines on the album where the band kind of goes, hey, we know this is a little overdramatic, so just enjoy the music. even though the lyrics are pretty intense. It's kind of like if a band was told, hey, write the saddest possible breakup song ever, and it just kept getting more sad and more intense with every new version. I like to think I know a decent amount of emo history, and I can't remember another band besides Park putting a warning in their album. I know obviously we have that parental warning that has been on, albums for forever, is what it seems like, but yeah, I can't remember another band having, this kind of a message that I talked about earlier inside one of their albums. Park was never a really popular band. I think it just came down to them being overshadowed because they were an emo band during the height of emo's mainstream popularity. I mean, just look at all the albums that came out in the emo scene in 2003, the same year It Won't Snow Where You're Going was released. Not every album could be a massive success. Park broke up in 2007, they reunited in 2013, and then they released a 3-song EP in 2014 and have been playing shows sporadically since then. The band did reissue their albums on cassette back in 2016, and I'm not sure if it's a music rights issue or something, but as far as I can tell, only No Signal got a vinyl repress a few years ago, so if you ever see Park's vinyl at a record store, buy it because the online prices are insane. You might be wondering why the band named themselves Park. I couldn't find a reason why, but they did post a funny Facebook post a few years ago where they were like, hey, we know it's very hard to search for Park music online. Sorry, we didn't really think about the internet when we chose the name. So while it is kinda hard to find Park's music online, as long as you put one of the album titles after the name Park, it's probably gonna show up. I would recommend checking out their other albums. No Signal and Building a Better aren't as intense as It Won't Snow, but they are still catchy. Those are my thoughts on Park, an underrated emo band. Please like the video, it really helps out the channel. Please subscribe. The analytics tell me that a lot of you aren't subscribed, so check out the other videos. If you like this video, I'm going to be talking about pop, punk, emo, the alternative music scene, so why not stick around? Tell all your friends, and thanks for watching.